At the beginning of the movie, we learn that due to severe pollution, Earth's atmosphere has become extremely toxic and unsuitable for human life. Soon, the Exodus mission begins and people head to a space station above Jupiter's moon named Io. A girl named Sam Walden is one of the last people remaining on the contaminated Earth. She conducts various experiments and studies living organisms that manage to survive in the aggressive environment. In a protective suit and mask, Sam ventures into an abandoned warehouse where she finds a pool filled with mosquitoes and algae. She turns on a dictaphone and records all her observations. After analyzing the water and atmosphere, Sam concludes that the found organisms can use ammonia as a source of oxygen. Sam takes samples and heads towards the exit. Suddenly, her attention is drawn to a poster on the wall of the Museum of Art with a poem by Yeats.
Burning roof and tower, and Agamemnon dead.
Sam goes outside and notices that all the plants in the ruined city are changing color. Soon, she discovers that the oxygen in her breathing apparatus is running out. In a panic, she runs to her motorcycle and refills the apparatus. Then she leaves the gloomy city and returns to the mountain base in the high altitude, where the air is still breathable. What would you do if you were alone on Earth? Share your ideas in the comments. After taking a shower, Sam sends a message to her boyfriend Elon, who has already left Earth and now lives in the Io station. Sam tells Elon about a recurring dream where she's breathing freely on the beach. She also shares that today, she discovered a new surviving insect species in ammonia. She hopes that bees will adapt to the new conditions someday. This would confirm her father's hypothesis that Earth is not facing an end, but a rebirth. After sending the letter, Sam conducts another experiment on bees, but it ends in failure. Soon, Sam receives a reply from Elon. Her boyfriend admires her scientific discoveries, but urges her and her father to head to Io quickly, as soon there won't be any oxygen left on Earth. Later, Sam plays recordings of her father's lectures. Dr. Harry Walden talks about the fate of Earth and humanity. He discusses how if bees can adapt to the toxicity of ammonia and pollinate flowers, plants will begin to bloom again and cleanse the air in less than 20 years.
And that we will adapt and flourish again on the planet.
Meanwhile, Sam finishes her tasks and gathers some vegetables. At night, she goes to the observatory and uses a telescope to observe life on other planets. The next day, Sam watches a video about beekeeping and suddenly receives a new message from Elon. He informs her that the Io Council has announced the New World Expedition because humans have discovered an exoplanet orbiting Alpha Centauri, which is identical to Earth, reachable within 10 years. Elon also shares that all his engineer friends have volunteered for the mission, which will affect the evacuation program from Earth negatively. Would you go to a mysterious planet not knowing what awaits you, or would you stay on the space station? Share your thoughts in the comments. Suddenly, Sam's computer shuts down, and she doesn't finish reading the message. Disappointed, she drives back to the city and heads to the abandoned library. Here she finds a book on mythology and takes it with her. Sam also wants to take a new monitor for her computer, but notices unusual flashes outside the window. Approaching, she sees an approaching storm and immediately hurries back home. Sam makes a difficult journey through the bad weather and finally reaches safety. However, due to the storm, ammonia has reached her bunker, and now she can't be without her breathing apparatus at home. She returns to Elon's message, where he assures her that all resources and equipment will be directed towards the New World Expedition. Therefore, Sam and her father need to catch the last shuttle of the Exodus in 4 days. Otherwise, she will be stranded on Earth forever and won't be able to leave.
The universe is calling for us. Can't you hear it?
Soon, Sam falls asleep with the book in her hands and she dreams of the beautiful beach again. By morning, the storm subsides and Sam rushes to the laboratory. In horror, she discovers that the lab is destroyed and all genetic samples are lost. But the worst part is that bee colonies didn't survive the severe storm either. Heartbroken, she messages Elon, sharing her losses. The storm destroyed all the results of her extensive work and experiments. Disheartened, Sam admits that Elon might be right about going to Io, but she realizes that they might not have enough oxygen even to reach the shuttle. She steps outside and sadly gazes at the destruction when suddenly a helium balloon appears in the sky. It quickly approaches and lands near Sam's base. A man named Micah emerges from the balloon. He tells a surprised Sam that he has come to see Dr. Harry Walden and asks for water. Fetching water, Sam hands the guest a cup. Micah eyes the water's color suspiciously, but Sam explains that the unusual color is due to the sand and charcoal she uses for filtration. Sam tells the stranger that she's a scientific assistant to Dr. Walden and can answer all his questions, but Micah insists on speaking to the scientist in person. Sam invites him inside and explains that Dr. Walden has gone into the mountains for samples for a new project. Micah insists on waiting for Harry Walden. Sam treats him to fresh vegetables and asks him if there's any life left on Earth, but Micah disappointingly confirms that even the birds have perished.
Even the birds all died. You'd think they could live up high like us.
Yeah.
Micah asks when Dr. Walden will return, and Sam explains that he sometimes stays away for a long time. Later, Sam shows Micah a place to rest, and she herself writes another message to Elon. Micah asks about whom Sam is communicating with and is surprised that she has a connection with people on Io. Then Sam plays a recorded message from Dr. Harry Walden and transmits it via radio. Micah, who arrived at the base, hears this message and realizes that the doctor has been gone for more than 2 days. The next day, Sam is still engrossed in her mythology book. She finds Micah and asks him to help repair the damaged equipment. After some time, Sam talks to Micah about her long-distance relationship with Elon. She thinks it might sound absurd to Micah, but he disagrees, as it's a natural human desire to find one's other half and connect with them. Micah retells to Sam a story from one of Plato's books in which humans once had 2 faces, 4 arms, and 4 legs, and they were truly content. However, they angered the gods, who split them in half. Since then, humans have been seeking to become whole again, and that desire is love. Sam listens with interest to Micah's story, and then she suddenly confesses to him that Dr. Harry Walden was her father. Sam goes on to explain more about her and her father's research and experiments to Micah. He asks about the meanings of the tattoos on Sam's body and then inquires about the origin of the scars on her chest. Sam assures him that those are just part of their immunity maintenance experiments. In the evening, Sam shows Micah the video about Lucy, a piglet that could breathe in the toxic environment but didn't survive for long. Following that, a segment about Dr. Walden plays on the screen, where he assures viewers that life on Earth will inevitably restore itself. The next day, Micah enters Sam's parents' bedroom and concludes that her mother fell ill and passed away due to Dr. Walden's experiments and his desire to stay on Earth. Sam takes offense at this assumption. She disagrees with Micah and insists that her mother's illness was not related to their stay on the contaminated Earth. Micah wants to know more about Walden and barges into his dusty and cobweb-covered office. He realizes that the doctor hasn't been there for a while, and Sam admits that her father passed away a year ago. Learning that Sam lives here all alone, Micah plans to take her to the Exodus on his air balloon. Sam isn't too keen on the idea, but she eventually agrees to go with Micah.
We'll have to plot our course and wait for favorable wind conditions, but it has to be soon.
In the evening, Sam writes another letter to Elon, telling him about the upcoming journey and hoping for a swift reunion in the station. The next day, Micah helps Sam gather remnants of honey from the ruined beehives. Suddenly, he spots a miraculously surviving queen bee and rushes to tell Sam this astonishing news. However, Sam sadly remarks that it doesn't mean anything anymore and releases the soul bee back into the wild. In the evening, Sam receives a response from Elon. He informs her that he agreed to participate in the New World expedition, which means they'll only be together in 10 years. Moreover, after the final launch of the Exodus shuttle, all communication channels will be cut off, and they won't be able to write to each other anymore. The horrifying news drives Sam to despair, and she can't hold back her tears. Later, Micah prepares vegetable spaghetti for dinner, and Sam asks what life was like on Earth before. Micah is certain that her father must have told her about it many times, but Sam wants to know about his own life experience. Micah shares that he grew up in the suburbs and dreamed of becoming a teacher, but the catastrophe took away his future.
We weren't ready for this.
However, Sam notices that perhaps all these unexpected changes might lead to something better. She then heads to the shower, and Micah continues reading his book. During the night, Micah realizes that the wind direction still prevents them from heading towards the Exodus shuttle. In anger, he storms into Sam's room to inform her of the issue. But Sam calmly approaches Micah and assures him that the wind will change its direction. She then plays Chopin's Nocturne, and the music triggers memories for Micah. Suddenly, Sam kisses Micah, but he pulls away, deeming it wrong. However, Sam insists there is absolutely nothing wrong in their action. A bit later, Sam and Micah gaze at the starry sky together, and Sam points out the colony whose twinkle obscures Io. Micah is astonished by the incredible sight, as he never expected to see anything like it. Sam confesses that she really wanted to visit one of the last exhibitions at the Museum of Arts, dedicated to contemporary mythology. She replies to Elon's latest letter, confessing that her father has been gone for a long time and that she chose to stay on Earth of her own accord.
I think we're both looking for worlds to call our own.
Sam bids farewell to Elon and hopes that he will find his world someday. In the morning, Micah is woken by an emergency radio message. It announces that due to a natural catastrophe, the launch site of the Exodus shuttle will be changed. Upon learning the coordinates of the new location, Micah realizes with horror that they won't have enough helium to get there. Enraged, Micah informs Sam and accuses her father of everything, as he advised people to stay on Earth and gave them false hope. Micah reveals that his wife couldn't survive due to illness and hunger. He confesses that he kept a little food for himself, allowing him to set out to find Dr. Walden and seek revenge. However, he never managed to meet the scientist. Now he's determined to save Sam at any cost, as he can't let another close person go. A saddened Sam thanks Micah for telling her the truth and admits that she knows where to get helium. To achieve this, they'll have to venture into the contaminated zone and stay there overnight, but Micah is sure it's impossible due to the lack of oxygen.
Adapt or die. Isn't that what they say?
Then Sam initiates a radio transmission and confesses to all the remaining people on Earth that Dr. Harry Walden is no longer alive. She admits their mistake and the fact that Earth has come to an end. She urges everyone to follow her and leave the planet on the Exodus show. With a plan in place, Sam and Micah set off. Finding the helium, they spend the night in an abandoned restaurant. In the morning, Micah fills the balloon with helium. With only an hour left before departure, Sam decides to briefly leave. She wants to fulfill her dream and heads to the Museum of Arts. Here, she captivates the exhibits, and one painting illustrating the same lines by Yeats catches her attention. Meanwhile, Micah realizes that their oxygen is running out, so he goes in search of Sam. He finds her quickly at the Museum of Arts and says it's time to leave. But Sam is in no hurry to go and asks Micah to explain the meaning of the poetry to her, and he briefly recounts the myth of Paris and Helen. Micah assures her that she's done all she could for Earth and her father would be proud of her, but it's time to go now. Suddenly, Sam reveals she won't go with Micah and will stay on Earth. She shares that she repeatedly dreams of being able to breathe freely despite the toxic air.
Everyone sees so much death here, but I see life.
Micah pleads with Sam not to be foolish and change her oxygen tank. However, to Micah's horror, Sam plans to remove her mask and risk her life to see if life on Earth is possible. Micah tries to stop her, but she removes the mask anyway. Thankfully, nothing happens to Sam. She can breathe freely. Micah heads to the Exodus shuttle by himself, while Sam returns to the base with hopes of a revival of normal life on Earth. A few years later, the girl writes a letter to Micah and asks him to tell everyone in the station that life on their home planet will definitely revive and that they will eagerly await the return of all people home to Earth. Sam finally made it to the ocean. She and Micah's child feel the wind on their skin and see the waves crashing against the shore. And her hope for the rebirth of Earth was not in vain. It was the movie Io. In my opinion, it turned out to be ambiguous. Sometimes the film makes you feel bored, although the idea of Earth's rebirth and humanity's new life is still worth attention. I hope people will be able to return to their home planet, but it's uncertain how much time it will take. So, what do you think? Will the familiar life on Earth be reborn, or will people have to explore new planets after all? Let's discuss it in the comments.